Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Well, now that the dust has settled, Euro's obviously over for a week now.
Yeah, let's get back to the real business.
Now we got the real deal.
None of this rinky-dink international football.
No Mickey Mouse little tournament. We got a full from August to May season going down, and it's starting now. Starts now.
Here in the Premier League, we like to buy people.
I don't know if that's. I've never seen Ted Lasso, but I feel like that should probably be like a line in that show. If it were funny, I'm sure it's good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start off. We're gonna go through each team, preview, kind of talk some main talking points about the business that's been done, what could potentially be done, the outcomes, implications, what they still have left to do, all the good stuff. And we're gonna start top of the table. As always, doesn't it feel good to just start number one?
Well, yes and no, because it's all downhill from there.
I guess. Yeah, because then even if you do win the league, then it's like, well, you didn't even go up.
Yeah, exactly. It was expected.
Arsenal have made many big moves, especially one massive move within the last couple of days, finally making it official practically.
Yep.
So
Nuno Tavares.
Yep, there it is.
The backup left back from Benfica, who's already scored.
Yes.
So
he's already a success. You could probably just loan him.
League's done.
Just loan him out if you need to.
But in reality, the big signing, Ben White, pretty much all but finished here. Just waiting on him to return from holiday.
What is it, 50 million pounds?
50 million pounds, 120K a week, 4-year contract.
Solid signing.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you're just going to have to pay that for a quality player now, and especially a guy who's, is he 24 or 23?
23.
23, so,
yeah.
I mean, that's just what you're going to have to pay. Even if it's, he might say if you feel like you're like, oh, that's a little steep. Maybe I would say like 35 or something like that. It's like even paying that now, like sure you're betting a little bit that he's just going to fill it out. But I mean, with how he plays and stuff and his past record and seeing all these like smart clubs that want to get him for cheap earlier on, overpaying like slightly, even though I wouldn't say it's really an overpay. It's maybe like 5 million pounds overpay. It's worth every penny for Arsenal.
Yeah, when you consider like the resale value factor, potentially if you go that route.
That or even, I mean, just the impact he's going to have on your defense, which is already good. It's going to make it even better.
Yeah. Definitely like a solid piece to build around.
Mm-hmm.
That's English, exactly what you want. When you have an opportunity to get a guy like this.
Yeah, no dirty foreigners in here. Only Englishmen.
But when you have an opportunity to get a player of his level of quality and not have to battle like Man City or Man U, you just got to pay what you got to pay.
Yep.
And get it done with.
I completely agree.
This has been like one of the like most stress-free big signings for Arsenal that there's ever been. There wasn't like the deal's off.
I guess.
It's just like
I was gonna say.
okay.
I was just thinking from like a perspective of like no one else was super after him. It was always kind of Arsenal in the lead. I was thinking the last like major one that was like that. I guess Aubameyang. I mean, there's always threats of like China and stuff, but and even before that, Özil kind of it didn't know if he was gonna get done the deal, But I mean, it was always kind of going to be Arsenal. So
Yeah.
they've been known to make a few of these before.
So some other transfer news about Arsenal. There's been some rumblings earlier in the window. It was Ruben Neves, but that's kind of fallen off lately. It's kind of dependent on what happens to Xhaka, who's likely to be leaving, and then a young player, Albert Sambi Lokonga from Belgium, coming in.
Was it Anderlecht or what team?
Yeah,
was it?
from Anderlecht.
Okay, I'm a big Belgian Super League fan.
That's another deal that's pretty much done.
Is that it was 18 or 17 euro?
Yes,
So
something like that.
14 or pounds, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's been rumors of Arsenal going after Locatelli and submitting like a 40 million euro bid.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently he doesn't want to come to Arsenal, and
I think it's
he's
more
obviously destined to Juventus.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. It's just kind of unfortunate for Arsenal because he's a great player, but it's like he probably wants to stay in Italy. I think Swasulo's just going to try and get it done for him. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what that is. I mean, it kind of seems like Swasulo is using Arsenal as like,
Bait.
they bid 40 mil, so pay us 45 or something. But
or even just like meet that, and we'll make sure that you get to where you want to. But you have to at least meet this, otherwise we'll accept Arsenal's offer.
Yep.
So
maybe some more news coming up shortly, confirming those two signings. Other than that, we can move on to the next club.
Yeah, we got Villa. It's been a big summer for Villa.
Yeah.
Real big summer. Grealish getting a lot of buzz at the Euros. Tyrone Mings, no one really talked about, but he had a good couple games when he did play. Emi Martinez, the big man at Copa America out here.
I'm so sad Arsenal sold him.
Yeah, but you got to be happy for Emi himself, right? I mean,
he was very loyal to the club anyways.
Mm-hmm. Main two signings, Ashley Young, just a nice little depth piece for him. I mean, he's not going to offer a ton. He did play surprisingly a good amount for Inter last couple of years. You wouldn't think that, but I mean, you can kind of get away with being an older player in Serie A. I mean, look at Kolarov. Yeah. He got extended again like last week by Roma. He's like 39. But the big fish, Buendia.
Huge signing.
Yeah.
It's definitely their transfer fee.
40 million pound.
I don't know what their second highest
The previous
would be.
one was, yeah.
Probably not that much, but that's a huge statement piece where you're like, okay, 40 million for this guy we think is quality out of the championship. So a little bit of a risk. I mean, he played in the Premier League
and
2 seasons ago.
Wasn't quite as good, but still, I mean, Norwich that year was just kind of tragic all the way around.
And he's a young player, so still developing. But
this as a secondary playmaker, I mean, he could be a primary playmaker on a kind of low table to even mid kind of table team, I would say. I mean, everyone's seen the stat where it's like he has the most assists in the championship in the last 3 years, and he didn't even play one of the years because they're in the Premier League. So he's just a tremendous playmaker. And I mean, if you have Grealish and now you have him, that's going to be massive in terms of creating goals. And, you know, one of the big winners is obviously now Ollie Watkins.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
He's going to be getting even better service coming toward him, you'd think.
And not to mention, we saw last season Jack Grealish, when he missed some time, you could tell the difference in Aston Villa. So now that'll help lighten the burden, at least.
Absolutely.
And it says a lot when you're beating Arsenal to signings.
Yeah,
That's a big statement.
People are believing in your project. They're believing in what you're building because, I mean, a lot of that is Grealish. But then you make other solid signings like Watkins and stuff. People and Emi Martinez, people are going to want to play for you if you're looking like a smart club and you got a lot of good momentum building. People are going to want to join you, and that's the case here.
Honestly, I kind of like it as like from a player perspective point of view as well. Going from like a championship club / like bottom of the Premier League team to like a higher mid-table team in Villa, as opposed just to going to a big six club. That's kind of a big jump.
Yeah.
So good to have kind of the step
middle
in
ground.
between.
I agree. Otherwise, rumors, they haven't had a ton. It's been like some Tammy Abraham, and that's just because he played there before. People always rumored that. Dwight McNeil. I think the craziest one was Dele Alli. But as far as guys out, El Mohammadi and Tom Heaton, so just depth guys. Nothing too crazy. I'd say it's been a great summer for Arsenal and Villa as well.
Yeah.
To start. So, and then the next club we're gonna go with is gonna be Brentford.
Brentford.
New club.
The new boys. So,
one thing about Brentford last year, they had a lot of injuries to important guys at times for extended periods of time. So I think what they mainly are going to be looking at maybe is a little building of the depth. Maybe they keep some of their championship guys, but they kind of go more to like the bench or like become rotational guys, and then they sign maybe one or two guys here that can just be implemented as starters. No business done really. It'll be interesting to see because they've noted in the past that they're going to be a selling club. They're going to buy low and sell high. That's what their plans are. I don't necessarily think it's all about financial reasons. They just feel like they have their certain system and they can get guys that fill in as certain cogs in the system. And
yeah, whatever they are doing, it seems to be working with the players that they're producing.
Mm-hmm. Because, they're producing solid players like Ben Rama and stuff. They'll turn them over. And then they plug in Ivan Toney, and it's perfection.
Yeah,
so
you sell your best guy, and then you get better. Mm-hmm. They've had guys like Ivan Toney, Ben Rama, Ollie Watkins, Neil Maupay. He was a bit of a flop, but still, he was great in the championship.
Well, he should probably go back, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. But it just shows they don't have to spend a ton of money. They're good
their
at
scouting and their board
and
is just clearly terrific. So nothing too crazy going on them in terms of any major signings or anything, but just still a team to watch out for because if you're having major injuries to your guys like De Silva and whatnot, you're gonna have to bring in some insurance because if you're losing out on these guys, like we were talking about with Villa.
I'm surprised that there hasn't been more links for teams trying to buy Ivan Toney.
You wonder if, I guess, who would you say in the Premier League would be going after him? Maybe I don't know if Brighton's going to spend any money because they're the main team.
Yeah.
Everton already has attackers. Because I feel like Everton would be a good club size for Ivan Toney, but the fit doesn't really make sense since they have plenty of attacking guys.
I feel like he could be a good backup piece at Tottenham.
Potentially.
But
I think an interesting team, just off the bat, would either be Newcastle too, or Southampton if you're going to let Ings go.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone's kind of dependent on, multiple pieces moving and whatnot.
Yeah.
And also there's the Premier League factor where they don't have to sell them because they're in the Premier League.
Yeah. And it's your best bet is staying up, so you keep all that revenue from being in the Premier League.
We've seen it before. Villa, same thing.
Turn down 50 mil for Grealish, and it's you stay up, you get 100 mil. And now look at Villa now. They stayed up, they built their squad, and they're challenging for Europe, I guess.
Yeah, it's nice to see that these smaller teams can keep their best guys.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely. So then we're moving on. Speaking of Brighton. What have they done, Sam? So
just one move in, they've brought in Enoch Mwepu. I am not entirely sure how to say that. He's a central midfielder, 21 million fee from Salzburg.
I was going to say the Austrian guy.
Yeah, 23 years old. Last season, 5 goals and 2 assists. So I can't say that I know anything about him.
I think he's supposed to be more box to box, but a little more defensive minded. From what I've heard, he covers a lot of ground and has a high work rate.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe that is, they're just doing that in case they lose a guy or two. But they need help
for sure
anywhere, specifically in attack. We've mentioned, but I don't think it would hurt to just have a ball winning guy out there as well.
Especially if they sell Basuma, then
true, that'd be a good replacement.
Gonna need that kind of player. One outbound. Johan Bach.
Yeah, he just left for Feyenoord, right?
Yes. Did you see what the fee was?
1.1.
I saw it listed as 900,000, but
something like that. And maybe mine was euros.
Yeah,
probably is what it was. You had pounds, I had euros. Yeah.
It's pretty sad though.
It is. They only bought him for 8 or something.
Yeah,
but still,
that's pretty bad return.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes the Eredivisie guys just really, really, really don't pan out.
Yeah.
Vincent Janssen.
And then a strong rumor they've been having is Mark Cucurella, left mid from Getafe. 22 years old, 3 goals, 2 assists, 37 appearances last season.
Former Barca top prospect kind of guy, wonder kid.
So that'd be an interesting signing there. Just
would like to see
bolster
him in the
the
Premier League.
attack.
Yeah, definitely get a guy who's able to facilitate out from the back for him. And we've talked about that's kind of what Graham Potter likes to do, kind of build from the back and possess the ball if possible. So, is there anyone you think that they might bring in, or you think their business might be done? Probably maybe like one other guy, but it'd be like a loan or something, or even just like a small striker signing.
I really think I'm disappointed that they haven't had any links for strikers. It's so clear that this is their weak point. But
yeah, do you think if you had to pick one team that would get Armstrong from the championship, who do you think it'd be? The Blackburn man himself.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad signing for Brighton.
He's a little more pacey. So
yeah.
I guess they technically wouldn't need like that guy because he's not really like a get running behind, but he's also not the best like hold up play guy.
Yeah, he might be a little better suited for maybe like a Burnley or Newcastle as well. They seem to play a little more fast paced on the counter.
Yeah. So
yeah, Brighton could use more of like a ball player as a number 9,
or even just a general
kinda
poacher. Because having Maupay in there as your
Yeah.
main guy is like he doesn't score enough just as a natural goal scorer to warrant results for you.
Yeah, I suspect there will be some more business for them, especially getting the Ben White deal across the line.
Mm-hmm. And even if they sell Basuma, that's even more cash flow. So, so is it Burnley next?
Burnley. So one confirmed transfer in, Nathan Collins, center back from Stoke, £13 million, 22 years old, 22 appearances in the Championship last season for Stoke. So that's good for Burnley. They need to freshen up the squad with some youth players.
I mean, they have one of, if not the oldest squad, and I mean, if you're gonna let Tarkovsky go for like 35 million, like this is probably his peak. Wouldn't be bad to maybe keep Ben Mee.
Yeah.
Keep either one, Mee or Tarkovsky. Sell one and get you more money, and then keep the other one kind of as a captain, kind of hold the back down, can help out the young guys. But
a couple rumors, they've been linked with Connor Roberts, the Welsh right back. We saw him perform nicely in the Euros. I think that'd be a great signing.
I think it would be too. I think it'd provide a different dynamic on that wing for them. They don't really have a wing back kind of guy. They had Robbie Brady, and I don't know. He was always decent in the Premier League, and I think it just kind of injuries caught up with him. And I mean, he's a little older now. I don't even think he's with the club anymore. So,
and then the only other two rumors I've seen have been Pavlenka from Werder Bremen.
Yeah, and
that doesn't really make sense unless you're selling
Pope. Yeah.
And then the second one being Wayne Hennessy, which makes a lot more sense as a backup goalkeeper.
Yeah, that one does make a good amount of sense.
Again, you kind of want to see more intent here in the transfer window from Burnley.
I get that they're not selling a ton of guys, so they're not going to, have guys out and then just like for like swaps or even, but like put a little more money into it. Maybe just make your team better. Because if you're not putting as much money in, if you get too complacent with this, I mean, it's one thing to be like Brentford and you're not spending a ton, but you're bringing the right guys in. Burnley doesn't have that pedigree necessarily.
Yeah.
So they have to maybe show a little more in terms of either youth development or they're going to have to spend a little more than you'd like to think. Because if you get too complacent, the Premier League chew you up and spit you out, and then you're in the Championship.
Honestly, I'd like to see them sell Tarkovsky.
I think so too.
The money could be used elsewhere.
Should we shake on it right now? Just 35 mil to Tottenham. We'll make the deal for both teams.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. Anything else on Burnley or?
Nope. I just hope to see some maybe attacking pieces.
Yeah, maybe whether it's a backup for Wood or maybe just a wing I think a wing, just a creative wing, would be what they mainly need. On to Chelsea. They've had a bunch of rumors. The main one, obviously, being Erling Haaland. They've apparently offered, I've heard, 175 million euro for him. Dortmund said, no thank you. They said that they'd rather just hold on to him for another year. We'll see. I mean, if they meet 200 mil, Dortmund might have to. Well, but who knows?
I feel like 175 million, and you got to be like, all right, sounds good.
Yeah, you would think.
That's a lot of money.
Other rumors, it's just been a bunch of random guys where it's like, I don't know. There's always been the Declan Rice rumor.
Yeah.
I think they were always hesitant to meet that £50 million asking price, but now that's... Woo.
You probably wish you took that 50 million.
Yeah, West Ham doesn't wish they took that 50 million. They would.
Yeah, for sure.
Griezmann, a little rumor, but it looks like he's gonna be swapped at Atletico.
He's also on like the most insane wages.
Yeah,
Like I can't remember what it was. But it's
Barcelona
insane.
is 101 how to just ruin your football club with their signings and their wages. Lukaku's been rumored to have back. The Sevilla center back who turned down Tottenham, Koundé. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The Sevilla guy?
Jules Koundé.
Yeah. He's been rumored, but I don't see any of those guys. I feel like if they're going to sign someone this summer, they kind of had their big splash last summer. If they're going to sign someone, I don't even see him being like, oh, we'll settle for Gerard Moreno or something. I think they're going to go Haaland, or they're just going to be content with their squad. As far as guys out, you want to make a point?
I just wanted to say, apparently Griezmann makes £594,000 a week.
Is that a lot? I've never converted.
What is Barcelona?
Tomori, 28 million to Milan, making that loan to buy official. The legend Victor Moses out, Willie Caballero out, and then we'll talk about it more in Norwich. But Billy Gilmore loaned out, nice little loan for both sides, I think. So anything you want to see Chelsea address besides striker, really, or you think it's just you kind of just got to roll with the squad that you have? Oh, and Giroud officially is out.
Yeah, if you can bring in that centerpiece striker, then of course that's what you want. But otherwise, I don't see like too many areas where they need to improve.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more just they need to get time with the system and keep working that out, because it was trending upwards.
It definitely was. I would say the only other rumor that I've seen about not necessarily guys in but guys out has been Ziyech.
Yeah.
People have talked about him leaving. He had a strong showing in their first preseason matchup, got a hat trick, but we'll see. I've always liked him, and I think he is Chelsea quality. I think that it's just a matter of if he's in form and playing with Tuchel's system, I think he could be pretty solid for him. So
I also think I think Timo Werner should get more of a chance to prove himself.
Just as a 9, hopefully.
Yeah. Like, you can't give up on him that fast.
No, you can't.
Because I feel like he's going to find some form.
He's shown so much in the Bundesliga that it would be hard just to be like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, I agree. Who do we have next? Palace.
Crystal Palace. So the big news being that Roy Hodgson is gone. We're all sad, but he was a magical man. Somehow kept Palace alive.
I don't know how. He stayed alive. I don't know. Palace stayed alive.
In comes Patrick Vieira. Slightly questionable signing for a manager, but really, who wants to come into this Palace side that's lost like half of their team?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that at the end of the season recap, but there's guys that just, like Frank Lampard said, it was too big of a task to take over, and I agree completely. And then to add on, Eze is going to miss part of the season with an Achilles injury, I believe. So they have to start their transfer business. They brought in one guy already, Michael Olise. He's an attacking midfielder from Reading. This is honestly, I think, one of the
better kind of moves.
The best deals that there's going to be. Reading are in a position where they needed to sell some players due to their financial businesses. So Olise, $9 million fee. He's 19 years old. He made 44 appearances in the championship last season, 7 goals, 12 assists. This is exactly what Crystal Palace needs to be doing.
We talked about this in the last couple episodes of the year, kind of previewing this, where it's like, what are Palace going to do? Because this could go so wrong or it could go so right. Even if this goes wrong, I still feel like this is the best way to go about it. Go with youth. Go with guys that have produced, whether it be at the championship or some level.
Yeah.
But rather than just go with, I mean, if you're trying to just get like washed up Premier League guys, we've seen that before. We've seen them, like other clubs, take guys from certain leagues where it's just not going to work because the play styles don't match. So I completely agree. This is the best way for Palace to do it. If you go down, at least they're going down swinging if they go down. So.
Yeah. A couple rumors. They were linked with Mark Gahey, I believe. Is that how you say it? The Chelsea center back?
Mm-hmm. And then they bought him today, didn't they?
No, actually Norwich bought him today.
Norwich bought him.
Norwich bought him. They've been linked with Conor Gallagher, a possible loan again, and
yeah, I would like
Ademola Lookman.
Yeah, those wouldn't be too bad. I thought Gallagher had some moments for West Brom last year where he looked solid. I don't know if he'll ever be Chelsea quality, but I mean he is pretty young. He's like 20, so
yeah,
who knows?
I think that'd be a good move.
Yeah, agreed.
Lookman, on the other hand, I'm not too crazy about that move.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't really shown a ton.
Oh, Crystal Palace did sign him?
They did sign him. Yeah, Mark Gahey. But no, I mean Lookman. I don't know. I was never huge on him when he was on Everton. He just never really looked that great to me. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. So
just fumbling over my words.
Another good signing in Gahey there, center back, highly rated in the
productive
championship.
for Swansea last year.
So that's a good signing. Bringing in the youth. They're doing exactly like we wanted to see.
Yeah,
so.
and that's good for them. I don't mind Palace.
But then
staying up.
I have questions over Vieira's talent.
That's fair.
He hasn't had the most productive managerial stints.
Mm-hmm.
New York City FC, you can't even relate it to this because it's like
no. MLS is a whole nother beast in the Premier League.
And then he had some time in France, which wasn't that successful. So
yeah,
we shall see.
We will see.
But he knows the Premier League.
That's fair. That's true. The thing, I kind of wish they would have got Favre just because Favre, when he didn't do awful at Dortmund, he just didn't meet the standards that Dortmund have. He was good at Gladbach.
Yeah, exactly.
He was good at Nice. He's a little better at the smaller clubs where the expectations and the bright lights aren't on them.
Yeah.
And he can develop guys. He's developed so many guys over his career.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that as well.
Mm-hmm. On to Everton. Speaking of new managers. Rafa, he's back, and the fans are not happy.
Everyone's just seething at Everton.
If I ever had to cheer for Everton, it'd be just for Rafa to do well. That'd be so funny. The fans hate him. He's doing so well, and then they're just. But then the ultimate rug pull would be if they just like completely collapsed and then missed like European spots.
What is Everton? I just wonder. Like from
like
Koeman to Ancelotti to Benitez, like what is going on?
They get these big names, and they're not like washed or like past it, but they're not in their prime, to say the least.
Yeah, I would say Benitez is trending towards that way.
Yeah,
I never liked Koeman. And Ancelotti, he's trending that way also.
Well, he may be trending that way, but it got him back to Madrid, so good for him. Everton, let's see. Few like notable Premier League guys left, but they weren't like huge pieces for Everton just because they have different guys now. Walcott, Josh King, Yannick Bolasie, Besic, Robin Olsen also end of his loan. They're all out. And I mean they can definitely be replaced, to say the least. Josh King didn't do like anything for them.
No,
when
good
he
to
played
clear
this
those
year.
guys out. Other than like Olsen, he would have been nice to keep, but
Yeah. Been rumored with like Damari Gray and Begovic. I know a couple other teams have been rumored with Begovic too.
I saw they were going to bring in Townsend.
I was literally gonna say Andros Townsend as well. Maybe as a depth piece, sure, but I mean, what are you
I hope
paying
so.
him? I mean, I don't know.
I know it was going to be like 1.5 million for like Damari Gray and
Yeah, which-
Townsend on free. So if
If
they're
it's
just
cheap,
depth, then
yeah. If it's cheap,
it's whatever.
and you're not relying on them, then fine. I suppose you can go ahead
Yeah.
and do that.
It's just kind of funny to think about, like Townsend going from Palace to Everton. But
Yeah, because he didn't even do better or anything. But like I said, I mean, he'd technically be taking a smaller role. So
yeah,
who knows? I mean, they'll probably make other moves too, because their squad is it leaves a little to be desired, especially in defense.
yeah.
So hopefully that I'd be looking to see if they can bring in another defender or two. Yeah, on to Leeds.
On to Leeds. So Leeds have made 2 signings. The first one being Jack Harrison, who was on loan last season. They made the transfer permanent for £13 million from Manchester City.
Very nice move.
Excellent signing. Great value. He produced nicely with Leeds last season. We talked about this last season, whatever. That he fits into this system a lot better than he would ever at Man City. So it just makes more sense for him to be at Leeds. It's good value for Leeds, 13 mil. And then the second signing being Junior Firpo, young left back from Barcelona, filling in the spot of Alioski, who left.
Yeah, Firpo, a little more attacking guy. It's kind of weird to see so many of these Barca dudes you'd see him like hyped up a little bit, and then they just within like 6 months to a year, it's like, oh, he's just on to like a mid-table Premier League.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what just happened?
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange. The Harrison business is great. I mean, Man City couldn't really hold Leeds over barrel because for whatever reason, no other team was pushing hard for Jack Harrison. I really, really, really like to watch Jack Harrison play.
Yeah, I do as well.
Very enjoyable player to watch. Yeah, I mean, it's just terrific business by Leeds so far, I'd say. We'll see about Firpo if he develops. I mean, maybe Bielsa has some secret kind of plan and way to utilize them that he thought maybe they would at Barca and they didn't, and he can exploit his strengths. I wouldn't be surprised Bielsa's a mad genius. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't know. Are they looking at, has there been any other rumored names for anything?
Not really many rumors. Most things that are coming out of their camp is saying that they're not really looking to make that many changes.
Yeah.
They're mostly keeping it the same. I wouldn't be surprised maybe bring in a couple of depth pieces to replace the likes of Berardi and Pablo Hernandez. Maybe some young guys to look for the future.
Yeah, in case like you can just promote a couple youth guys or something and incorporate them in the team. But
Yep, but nothing crazy.
yeah, I
So-
wouldn't suspect that. I mean, that's what you want to do with your team. You maybe add a piece or two here when you're building towards something.
Yep.
So
I think the biggest thing is like them holding on to Rafinha, honestly, because there were a lot of rumors about other teams being after
yeah,
him.
and it's kind of weird because like some of them, I feel like City was one of them, and it's like literally where would he play? You just sold Zane because you couldn't get him time because you have Mahrez.
Right,
So where's Rafinha gonna play?
right.
So I don't know, kind of strange.
So who we got next?
Whoa, we got
Liverpool?
Liverpool.
Liverpool,
Or Leicester.
Leicester.
Leicester, and then Liverpool.
Okay, let's talk about Leicester. So Leicester have 3 signings already. They're doing some smart business. They picked up Patson Daka, 22 years old, 27 goals, 7 assists, and 28 appearances for Salzburg. 27 million pound fee. So that's a big move there. It'd be interesting to see how they try and fit him in with Vardy a Iheanacho.
Yeah, I mean, because we saw the two that paired up partnership between the two last year. Maybe a little less Vardy, a little more just Iheanacho by himself, and they'll incorporate the new boy.
Yeah, it's kind of like, are they preparing to move on from Vardy?
I feel
it kind
like
of looks like
slowly but surely, yeah, because you don't want to just push him out, but because he's still good too. He's a quality guy. He did fall out of form at the end of last year, and that's why the beginning of the year will be so interesting. See, it's like, well, is Vardy on his last legs or what?
Yeah, he might be more of like a 20 game a season kind of player
at this point. Yeah.
So.
Or even if you're just, maybe you get a few more games out of him, but you're pulling him off at the 60th minute or something. You're limiting the minutes.
So a smart move to bring in some youth in that position. And then a midfield addition, Boubakary Soumaré, £18 million from Lille, 32 appearances in the title-winning season for them. So that's a nice move. Ryan Bertrand, left back on a free. Some good depth moves right there. The main rumor I've been seeing is Ozan Kabak from Schalke.
Yeah, formerly loaned to Liverpool.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I think Leicester needs
just one more
center back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because Johnny Evans was dealing with some injuries last season.
Yeah, and I mean, even that, Europa League is so tough. Unironically, probably the toughest competition in terms of wearing on your team. Because those Thursday games, even going to Sunday, brutal. So, yeah, I would say that probably the best bet is bring in one more guy who's serviceable. You can play him. Because he wasn't super impressive at Liverpool, to me, anyways. But, I mean, he can get by against lower Premier League sides, or you can have him be the main European Cup center back.
Right. Especially when you're playing like a 3 center back formation.
What they had going.
So... We'll have to see. I would think that someone would buy him. I would think he'd be pretty cheap from Schalke after they got relegated.
Yeah, they're just going to try and get funds in.
I was hearing like 14 million euro, and I think you could probably even pick him up for cheaper because it doesn't seem like anyone's after him.
Yeah.
So they might just be trying to get a cheaper price on that.
True. Anything else on Leicester?
Nope. I just like those moves. I think.
Yeah, they've had a solid summer so far.
It's your classic Leicester. They make smart signings.
Yeah, that's how you end up here, going from rags to riches. Liverpool?
Classic Liverpool, not doing much business. They brought in Ibrahima Konate earlier in the summer, 36 million fee from Leipzig, 22 years old. I was thinking about this. Liverpool had their chance when they won the title to start something. To start a run of history making. But instead they decided to go cheap. They decided that we're not going to bolster our squad. And guess what? Last season they paid the price for it because they didn't have depth.
Yeah.
And this season you don't have Wijnaldum. So are you going to replace him at all? Or are you just going to...
Yeah, and then what are you going to rely on, Hendo? I mean, he's not always the most healthy guy, as we've seen.
It just baffles me, Liverpool's unwillingness to spend money. I don't
know what to tell you. These big clubs, and I mean, not to cross sports, but we've seen it with the Red Sox owners, with Mookie Betts and stuff, not refusing to pay like a top 5, top 10 player in the league. Yeah. And maybe they're going to cut costs Liverpool. They're like, oh, we won the Premier League. Oh, we won Champions League.
Yeah,
okay.
you're just happy with it once instead of like cementing.
You could have had a dynasty kind of.
Instead of cementing your spot as like a top club in the world.
Yeah. But, who knows? There's always time. Maybe they're expecting a guy to step up. I mean, we haven't seen it from Keita or Fabinho, even though they normally have Fabinho in a more of a actual like back 4 or back 3 role, but I mean technically can be a defensive mid. Regardless, I don't think the solution for Wijnaldum is on this team. No, they're gonna have to go out and get someone who's a box to box guy. Who that is, we'll see. But
and even last season, we were looking at their transfer business. not much going on at all. They brought in Thiago on a free transfer, but you could tell last season things got stale at times. I mean, they brought in Jota, and that helped, but then he got injured. After you win the title, you gotta freshen up the squad.
Somewhat, yeah.
There
always has to be one or two guys coming in or one or two guys going out. Just leaving the whole squad level, for sure, I'm never a huge fan of.
Yeah, it never works.
Yeah.
But
do you have any hope for Liverpool? You think they're gonna bring in a big name or no?
I think they're just gonna kind of slide back into that.
Just challenging for Champions League rather than.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Well, speaking of challenging for Champions League, it's their main goal. Manchester City, the champions of last year. We're just talking about staying pat.
How do you even improve Man City?
A 9.
Yeah.
A 9, a realistic 9.
Other than that, like
no, you really can't.
There's nothing.
I mean, they let Harrison go, they let Eric Garcia go, and they let club legend Sergio Kun Aguero walk. The big question is it Kane?
Yeah.
Can they do it? If they do it, can they be stopped? Can they literally be stopped? The answer is no, but
it'd be pretty funny if they somehow managed to like either not win the league or the Champions League. If they got Kane.
That would be awesome. They win like the Carabao Cup, and that's what they got. That would be pretty funny. But even with Kane too, like there's times where he'll struggle with injury, so it's like you probably need to bring in another guy. I guess they technically don't because they won the damn league without a striker last year, so they could probably get by. But I don't know. How do they not?
I feel like it's the most realistic scenario out of anyone that's going to pay anything for Kane. How old is he?
28.
28?
I believe.
And they're asking for 150 mil. Like, who else is going to pay that much money for a 28-year-old who has injury problems? Like,
I think
it's only going to be Man City.
In the Premier League, yes. United will never happen. Chelsea will never happen. They always say PSG and stuff. I don't think he's going abroad.
No, I don't think so.
So, yeah, it has to be City if he's going to go. And this is like the perfect time to do it.
We'll have to see. There's been reports saying that he may sit out like preseason to try and force that move. So,
yeah. Well, I think Nuno will get the Tottenham and stuff. I think he was saying that they might keep him. We'll see.
Especially, yeah, we'll talk about Tottenham more.
Yeah.
But
is there any striker that you'd like to see City get besides Kane? Is there anyone that just like pops into your head?
Not really. I feel like Kane obviously just fits the bill so nicely, the way he can drop back and link up play like that.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about it too, and it's like there's definitely no Premier League guy. That's for sure. It's like, and then you start looking at the other top teams, and it's like, well, what if like the elite players are gonna? It's a mix of like a player's just not quite good enough for Man City standards, or they could probably produce. Like if they bought like Wout Weghorst or something, he could probably produce and be like a Edin Dzeko kind of solid striker for him. But it's like, do they want to do that? I don't know. They're probably feeling like if we're gonna buy a striker, we're just gonna go all in and he's gonna make our team perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was thinking about it and I couldn't put my finger on who they'd be bringing in if they were to bring in a guy other than maybe Lukaku, because Inter were selling some guys. They refused to sell Barella. I'm sure that Lukaku was one of the guys they refused to sell too, but
yeah,
who knows? As far as the next team, let me pull it up here. Let's get the table back up.
United.
Manchester United. How did we not just think of that? All right.
So the one big piece that United has done so far, Jadon Sancho, confirmed. Is it 90 million euro?
I believe. I think what I saw was 85 million. And
plus
then
some add-ons.
It's add-ons of like 10 to 15. is more likely what it'll be.
So it was a little less than what people were talking about maybe last year.
Last year it was more. His form was better.
Yeah.
That first half of the year for Dortmund last year was very, very bad.
Yeah.
It was not good. It's like, how do you consider this guy world class? Second half of the year for Dortmund, from specifically February on, that was the Jadon Sancho that we've seen before. It'll be interesting to see how United fit him in, because now you got two main playmakers in Fernandes, who's a little further back. You also have Pogba, which he's obviously not as good a playmaker as for the national team. Still a playmaker nonetheless in the midfield. And you got Sancho, who's a little further forward. He's going to be a playmaker, getting it into the box and whatnot. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. If you're not over reliant on him, that's fine. But just know there will probably be like I'd say like 1 out of 5 games where he just doesn't really show up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people that think he's just going to magically like be super amazing when he has some like real shockers.
The Premier League isn't as, I wouldn't say it's as hard to adjust to as it used to be, because it's slightly less physical. It's more of it's becoming a slightly more finesse. It's still significantly more physical and hard on the body than, say, the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
And especially both are harder than like Serie A and the French league and whatnot. But as far as a physicality perspective, yeah, it's not going to be easy for him, I don't think.
Yeah.
I still think he'll have a good year. I just think that he may not be what you would expect out of a 90 million euro guy first year, which, I mean, who knows? He could, I wouldn't say he could shock the world by being world class and living up to expectations, but would I be super surprised if he actually gets his, say, 10 goals, 10 assists like the Bundesliga? No, but I'd probably give it like a 35% chance he does.
Yeah.
65 he doesn't. He'll probably a double-digit assists, I would guess, but I don't think he's going to score as many goals.
I'm not expecting that much out of him personally. Whenever I watch him, I'm not super impressed. He likes to dribble a lot, which
the Techers legend.
I don't think that's going to really
he's a street baller.
Work out that great in the Premier League. It's a lot more passing focused.
So he's Wolf 2.0.
Yeah, kind of. So we'll see. Either we'll be like completely justified and we'll look like geniuses, or we'll look like complete idiots.
First off, I'm always vindicated on everyone except Turkey, and that's just how it is. So I think my anticipation of Sancho being will be correct.
Yes.
I think, it'll just be interesting to see how they implement him in the system, because United don't really have like wide playmakers. Fernandes sometimes will get out wide, but I feel like he's better centrally. Same with Pogba when creating.
Yeah, Rashford can play on the wing, but he tends to go more centrally.
Yeah, but even then, like, he's not like, when I mean creating
plays,
I'm not thinking like he's setting other people up, I guess is what I'm saying. They don't really have a guy who's like trying to look to, he might make some moves, but then he's trying to get it to someone to set them up. So
anyways, enough about Jadon Sancho.
Is there anyone else?
The hugest signing, Tom Heaton.
Yes, the legend. He's back and better than ever.
Some rumors for Man U. Kieran Trippier has been heavily linked, and we'll have to see about that. It seems like it has gone down a little bit lately. He hasn't been linked as much, but
so what does that mean for Wan-Bissaka, I guess?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I was never a huge Wan-Bissaka. I was big on Wan-Bissaka when he was at Palace. I wasn't big when Man U bought him, because I just think he's not United quality. And at times he's hasn't got enough criticism, and at times he's got too much. Yeah. So I don't know. Bissaka, I wouldn't sell him if I'm United. I think he's still serviceable. Yeah,
I think there's other areas where you would look to upgrade first.
Exactly. That's really the best way to put it.
Another rumor, Rafael Varane, center back, Real Madrid. He's been linked, £40 million move.
I think that gets done.
Yeah.
I think that gets done.
It does seem like it.
They need more help, and Real Madrid are willing to sell. I think it'll get done.
Real Madrid need the sales. He's got 1 year left on his contract, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense for United. That'd be a great piece there.
Absolutely.
Maguire and Varane. That's a world-class center back pairing.
Yeah, it really is.
And then the last big name they've been linked with has been Eduardo Camavinga, the young French player from Rennes.
Oh, yeah, Rennes.
He's very, very highly rated, and it seems to be just United who are the front runners in this race.
Yeah, I mean, he'll always be linked with PSG because young French guys are always linked with PSG.
Yeah.
Even Real Madrid because just that's how good he is.
Yeah.
When a guy's linked with like Dortmund like 2 years in advance and then he doesn't go to a team like that, he's more than likely just going to hold out for his like really, really big move.
Mm-hmm.
So United, maybe a City, Real Madrid, or PSG, whatever. But yeah, it does look like United are the only team that keep having more and more links with them.
Yep. So it could be a good summer for United.
Very well could be.
They really are setting themselves up to contend for the Premier League title.
Yeah, finally.
Finally.
Now you just need to sack Ole and bring Moisey back. Right the ship.
Yes.
Newcastle?
Newcastle.
Some proper football now. God, it's about time.
So surprise, surprise, Newcastle has made no moves. They're waiting on
How do you improve perfection?
the hope of Joe Willock. Arsenal being willing to sell Joe Willock. As of now, Arteta is saying that Joe Willock is in the plans for Arsenal. But I think we both know that it makes the most sense. Sell Joe Willock when he's at his peak value. He had like some unreal goal-scoring streak. So sell him at his peak, maybe like $25 million. That gets the deal done.
No.
And Newcastle's happy. Arsenal's happy. There you go. But hasn't happened yet, so we'll see. Some other rumors they've been having is Conor Gallagher again. He was linked with Palace as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kabak linked with Leicester. And then a big one was Christopher Kerr from Celtic. But supposedly he may be too expensive for what they're willing to pay.
I see.
But they do need an improvement.
The center backs, yeah, for sure.
Position.
Cher's fine. That other rotation of like Fernandez and not Hayden. What's his name? I guess Lascelles, he's kind of hurt a little bit. But then they have
Cher.
Kraft that's back there. He's kind of a little more wider. But Kieran Clark, they definitely, that's, if you're going to sit back,
Yeah.
you're going to have to improve that. So,
yeah, if they don't get Joe Willock, I sure hope they have some sort of plan B because
they need someone besides St. Maximin.
they need some quality attacking. And I'm afraid if they don't bring in any guys that they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it's true, unfortunately, because you can only rely on Bruce Ball perfection so much.
Yeah. And if you can't get Kjær, you should really be looking at Kabak.
Yeah, true. He's cheap enough.
Or
It's
even
just a matter of getting the guy to go there.
Even like Nat Phillips.
Yeah,
Honestly.
for Liverpool. Maybe they'll loan him out or a loan to buy option. So, Norwich?
Norwich actually having kind of a nice transfer window.
Yeah, which is surprising because they don't. I mean, part of it's Buendia leaving, so they have some money, but normally they don't ever spend, believe it or not, as a yo-yo club.
Yeah. So the biggest move they've had so far, Billy Gilmore on loan from Chelsea, had a nice Euros performance. I think that suits both clubs, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
And then another big move they had was Milo Rashica from Werder Bremen. Last season was a down year for him, although Werder Bremen had a pretty poor year in general. And the year before, he was playing lights out. He was linked.
He's linked with Dortmund, Gladbach, and Leverkusen. I mean, he's linked with some Champions League tier clubs. So
it could be a great signing for $10 million if he does perform like he did.
Recovers his form. Yeah,
could be a big piece on that.
Is there anything else going on with Norwich? I mean,
a couple other signings. They signed Ben Gibson, center back, $8 million fee from Burnley. bringing in some depth there. Angus Gunn, goalkeeper. And then they've been also rumored to Christopher Kjær.
From Celtic.
You
know, those two signings bothered me only because I liked Angus Gunn, and he just quite didn't live up to what he was supposed to be as a Man City youth guy going to Southampton. And then, who was the other guy they signed? I already forgot.
Rashica?
No.
Ben Gibson.
Ben Gibson. I liked him at Middlesbrough, and then he didn't really ever get in at Burnley because he's never good enough.
Also, I have a correction to make. I wrote this down incorrectly. It's Christopher Ayer.
Ayer. You think Kjær as in the Denmark?
The Danish guy. It's Ayer.
Ayer. The Norwegian man himself. Any other things going to be going on for Norwich this summer? I feel like it'd be kind of hard unless they maybe do bring in a center back. If anything, I think it'd be a loan. It'd probably be a loan for a center back from a Premier League side, a bigger Premier League side. I don't think that they'll get the man from Celtic.
Yeah, that would be a little surprising. They don't seem to be the kind of club that would pay that much money on that position, but I guess we'll see. Especially after signing Gibson. So,
yeah.
We'll see if they can stay up a year. They got some money from the Buendia sale.
So. Yeah. See if they can invest that besides Rashica. So.
Yeah.
Moving on. We got a proper club right here. Southampton. A team that needs some influx in their team.
Yep.
Not just for Hasenhutl's sake, but for my sake as a non-Southampton fan, but an actual kind of fan that likes to watch them. Walcott on a free. Solid. Romain Perrault, player from Ligue 1, kind of a wide defender. So there's your Bertrand replacement. He's better than Bertrand. Mm-hmm. I like that move for them. And then since Bertrand out of contract, obviously left, now replaced. There haven't been a ton of rumors about Southampton bringing in other guys. You could maybe see, I've heard Delaney this summer, and I'd like I've said before, love that signing if they make it.
That'd be a huge signing for Southampton.
The only rumor as far as guys going out was Vestergaard to Tottenham. I don't know if they would do that. If I were Tottenham, I'd probably have Tarkowski. If I can't get Tarkowski, then I guess Vestergaard wouldn't be too bad because he wouldn't be super expensive. He'd probably be like 15 or 20.
I feel like that's just such a Tottenham thing to do, is like you sign a guy who's like decent, but just
not as good as you need.
You need to sign a little bit higher quality.
That's what I'm saying, but if it's cheap enough, he might just be able to have at least 1 year for you to hold it together. And then that next year, you can bring in a guy who's even better.
Yeah.
Other than that, not a whole lot going on. Kind of quiet.
Seems like Danny Ings, there's some question marks about
Yeah,
him.
I mean, he could leave for a bigger club, but I don't know. I feel like Southampton might unfortunately let this run its course, and then if he becomes a free agent, they'll let it go that way. But
I think I saw something from Hasenhüttl where he was saying, like, yeah, we stuck by Danny Ings during his injuries and stuff, so kind of hoping like that he repays him. And appreciates that faith shown.
It wouldn't be too bad.
Honestly, I feel like he's best suited off at a club like Southampton.
Yeah. I mean, he's either a backup on a team like Liverpool or Tottenham, or he's a starter on Southampton. So yeah. I enjoy watching him play, so I would hope he stays at Southampton, and you love when he's healthy because he can get it clicking for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a ton for Southampton when it comes to that. Then after Southampton, let me get the table back up here. I was looking at some of the stuff.
Tottenham.
It is Tottenham? Okay. Nuno.
Yeah.
He's in.
The seventh choice man.
I can't believe how many guys were just like, no.
It's honestly comical. Like
the one guy was out of work for like 3 years. He didn't have a job, and he still turned Tottenham down. He's like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But at least, I mean, they got a guy who we've seen him at bigger clubs outside the Premier League. This is obviously going to be bigger than Wolverhampton, which relatively big because they came in after their promotion and they had expectation to be at least mid-table. So now you have an expectation at a big club to finish in a European spot. we'll see how it goes for Nuno. He's got a lot to deal with in terms of Harry Kane. Whether Harry Kane leaves, got to make decisions on guys like Dele Alli and stuff if they're going to leave. Harry Winks. I mean, it's not solely him, obviously. He's got the board, but I think you got to look around and you're like, well, who are we bringing in? They've been heavily linked for the last year or so with Joachim Andersen, the Fulham player. Really heavily linked with Tomiyasu from Serie A, the Japanese center back.
Yeah.
It seems like no one else is in on him.
Yeah.
So it's really just down to them if they want him. Kuende turned them down.
Feels bad, man.
Turned them down because they're a small club, apparently.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if I had to say one thing, and this is just separate from all the rumors and whatnot, they got to offload some of these guys. They have to
100%.
offload Sissoko, Winks, even a guy like Lucas Moura. You just got to offload so many of these guys for anything you can get.
Yep.
Get their wages off the books right now.
I just don't think that Nuno is the guy to do it. I mean, we saw that Tottenham clearly had other targets that they wanted before him.
Yeah.
So what's it like when you're the
seventh choice?
The seventh choice or whatever.
He's got the chip on his shoulders.
Not to mention the huge question mark of Harry Kane wanting to leave. And then, so you have Harry Kane and he wants to leave, and then you bring in a guy like Nuno, let's
whose
be
system?
fair.
Whose system? Just I'll let you make your point. But their system was so dependent on Raul Jimenez, and he can make him look amazing.
Yeah,
and he can make Kane look even better. But I mean, if Kane's gone, it's like who's going to be that 9, and then that creates a whole other uncertainty compared to what you're going to say as well, along with it.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I think it shows that there's maybe a lack of ambition there. I think when Jose Mourinho was brought in, that Kane really appreciated having a world-class manager. And then you take a step down and you say, you know what? I don't see us winning trophies here.
Yeah. I think that Kane has, or I hope he will, come to that conclusion that it's not going to be at Tottenham.
It's now or never, honestly.
Yeah, that's kind of how it seems. I like Nuno in terms of I feel like he's relatively safe, and I like his style of football. I don't think this is getting Tottenham into the Champions League, which is their ultimate goal. I think he'll keep them around somewhere between 5 and 7.
Yeah, I think around 7th is where I see them finishing.
Yeah, I guess 5 would be more implying some things go wrong for other teams and they actually bring in a good center back too. That's probably best case scenario. It's 4th or 5th because they bring in a good center back, and then Liverpool or Chelsea or United kind of just fall off, and it creates a little more room, or Leicester, and it creates a little more room for them to slide in. But yeah, I mean, and they've had a couple other playmaker guys rumored, Sabitzer and Thuram. I think Gladbach officially, I guess they didn't really officially say it, but it's they want 25 million euro. It's why are you not on that right now?
Exactly.
For a wide playmaker? I know you got Son, but it's you need more.
Yeah, no Gareth Bale this season.
Yeah,
supposedly.
He's out. He's leaving, not coming back.
And he
Nuno
put in
confirmed.
a shift for Tottenham last season.
Yeah, he carried them for a little stretch. He was super hot.
Yeah, when everyone else kind of faded away, he was the one stepping up and scoring. How are you going to replace that? I just don't see the ambition with Tottenham. They get to the point where it's they can finish, higher up in the table, and they just keep floundering away, getting players and managers that are just mediocre. And honestly, a guy like Daniel Levy, he's just a complete clown.
I think where it went wrong for them was the Poch firing.
Yeah.
That was an absolute panic move. You have a world-class manager that could get practically any job he wants. You had a rough patch. You've built this core of him, Kane, Son. Ali was still in it, wasn't as good anymore, but they still had at least a core, and they were building something. And you practically chopped the head off of the guy who was the thinking mind behind your team.
Yeah.
So the whole vision of the squad has to be completely rebooted.
And then you go out and you make a huge signing in Ndombele, and he's a complete flop.
Yeah.
They're trying to offload him for £15 million.
Yeah. Tottenham the story. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. It just really comes down to Kane, and if they let Kane go, it's like, well, that's pretty late in the summer. Where are you getting a 9 from?
Danny Ings.
Danny Ings. Congratulations on Danny Ings. Next team, Watford, newly promoted. They've actually made a good amount of signings. Kind of weird. I wouldn't expect that. Josh King in on free. Danny Rose in on free. Pretty washed up.
Trash.
Amran Louza. He's a midfielder for Nantes. Kind of a box-to-box, slightly a little more defensive-minded.
Wait, I thought Danny Rose was AC Milan.
That was, for people who don't understand that joke, it's the Tottenham behind-the-scenes show. What was it, All or Nothing on Amazon? And Danny Rose went into Mourinho's office and demanded a transfer. He's like, I got AC Milan on my phone. And he went to, who'd he go to on loan? He went to, was it a championship side, or was it a really, it was Newcastle, wasn't it? Or a lower
Newcastle.
Premier League side? This is absolutely hilarious, regardless. Emmanuel Dennis, striker, from one of the Bruges clubs. Rumored with Glenn Kamara, who's been a very good player for Rangers last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they can shore up their midfield, that would at least give me good hope for them to stay up. Their main problem, I always feel like, is managers. They're so flip-floppy on managers, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Them and Chelsea are the ultimate, if you lose or if you don't win in a 5-game stretch, you are out.
Yeah, exactly.
Banished.
That's a huge problem when you set that precedent and it just keeps going.
Yeah, because then your culture of your club is kind of just, there isn't really one.
Yep.
Which is kind of what Watford has. Talks about Will Hughes leaving to Villa and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want to just let him play another year in the Premier League. He was pretty important for them in the Championship. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. If I'm Watford, I'd probably just hold on to as many guys as I can and just make sure you can stay up this year. Obviously, you want to stay up, but it's really important for them to not just become the next Norwich.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to see them maybe add? I mean, they have good, young, wide playmaking players.
Yeah, they do have some good options in attack.
Maybe just for sure number 9, and maybe Emmanuel Dennis is like that because he is more I guess more like Deeney in a way than say Josh King is like Deeney, if that makes sense, because Deeney and King are nothing alike.
Yeah,
so. But yeah, no, Watford not a ton. They could probably even add a center back too. I think they let 1 or 2 go to some championship squads, so they don't have the best of depth when it comes to center backs. But is there anything else you want to say about Watford before we move on to your second team?
No, I think the big thing is we'll see Ismaila Sarr and João Pedro. We'll see how they perform in the Premier League because they had some offers to sell Sarr, I know.
Yeah, for 40 mil to Liverpool and stuff.
So we'll see if that pays off.
I think it will. Those guys are really, really good. West Ham. Nothing crazy in terms of moves. They've looked at a few guys, notably another Slavia Prague man himself. What's his name?
Alex Krall.
Yeah, Krall. Yeah. I think the biggest news would just be the Moyes extension and keeping him. I don't think he's ever really going to leave, but there was that little bit. I think it's just because he was at Everton previously that's why you're like, oh, maybe.
Yeah, he had so much success at Everton, you could see him going back there.
Mm-hmm. So, Ben Rama technically was pretty much guaranteed to be permanent last summer, but yeah, they make it official.
We'll have to see with Jay Lings.
Yeah,
because he was in the Man U preseason game yesterday or something.
What are you gonna do when Jay Lings replaces Sancho? Are you gonna feel vindicated? Scale 1 to 10, 9 or 10?
11.
I don't know what else they do. Maybe sell off a couple depth guys like Yarmolenko or something just to get some extra funds, and then
Yarmolenko was rumored to.
I saw a couple Turkish clubs. I saw Fenerbahce as one.
I thought I saw him rumored to Burnley or something.
Oh no!
Yeah,
please no, don't go to
something like that.
No. I think maybe hold on that money, and then the winter window, if you have something that pops up, you at least have some money in the bank to spend on someone, but I don't think they really have to do a ton.
They don't seem to be in too much of a rush to deal with the Lingard situation.
I mean, well, no one's really going after him besides them, so it's...
Yeah, it's like Man U are trying to get as much as they can out of him.
It's kind of like if Man City with Harrison was like, we need at least 20 mil.
Yeah.
And then Leeds is like, we'll just wait. We have all the time in the world.
Oh, yeah, you're going to play Jesse Lingard? Okay, Man U.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else you want to add about West Ham?
No, I hope they can continue their good form like last season.
Yeah.
Their best season in club history.
I think they did let Balbuena leave on a free, so maybe they'll bring in like a really cheap center back or something too. Who knows? And then lastly, Wolverhampton. Nuno gone.
Yep.
Laga in.
Yep.
Point in Laga. Making the Ait Nouri loan permanent.
That's a great piece of business.
Yeah, I like him. He was solid for them. They got Trincao on loan from Barca. He'll be an interesting attacking piece. Patricio out. Jose Sa in. I haven't seen a ton in terms of rumors for them. I saw that they're looking at some younger Colombian defender. I think they ended up getting him for like 5 mil. So I mean, who knows? But they're gonna be a team that just needs. They either need to sign a secondary kind of playmaker besides Traore if he doesn't leave, or they're gonna need someone to step up, whether it be. I guess they technically, I mean, Neto, obviously, but, you know.
I'll be interested to see what kind of system they try and come out with. If they
I'm not super familiar with Laga.
With the 3 at the back, but...
They have a lot of depth on this team because they did loan out a few guys last year. They still have Patrick Cutrone, Rafa Mir still in the system. Morgan Gibbs-White, it'd be interesting to see if they incorporate him. They have a bunch of different guys. And then they have older guys like Montinho and stuff where it's like, how much longer are they going to be able to perform for them? Questions regarding is Neves leaving. I think he'll end up staying now. I don't see anyone buying him.
It seems to have died down, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Still got Den Donker and Cody as your main guys back there. Semedo, who had a rough Euros. Yeah, I mean... They got some guys. They didn't do anything fantastic, but it'll really just, it'll be interesting to see what to expect out of Laga. I don't know. I'll have to do more research on him in terms of what his past accomplishments were and what he did. I know that he is a big Portuguese man himself as well.
Yeah.
So at least they're keeping the Portuguese vibes going.
I respect that.
Yeah.
They're not like Watford and just are going to go like completely random directions.
Yeah. So.
And they have Jimenez. He started playing in the preseason. So hopefully a return to match fitness for him, and hopefully he can still be at the level that he was prior to the injury.
Hopefully. I unfortunately have doubts, but hopefully.
It's been a long layoff and such a serious injury like that. You have to question that. And
for sure. Yeah, I think the main thing, too, besides the system change will be, I don't think Traore and Neves are leaving this summer. I think there's just not enough interest. It'll be interesting to see if they have a good year next year, Wolves. Maybe they do end up selling him next summer. They sell like Neves. Has a really good year. They sell him for 50 mil. Traore has a really good year. They sell him for like 45, 50 mil. And then they can bring in new pieces and stuff. But I think it's going to be a very similar looking team. It'll just really come down to new system and how Jimenez looks coming back.
Yep.
So, who would you say right now winner of the summer in the Premier League?
Winner of the summer, I would say Arsenal's definitely having a good one. I'm biased, but Leicester making some great moves.
Mm-hmm.
Leeds making smart signings where they need it. They don't need a whole bunch, but they're filling in what they do need.
I would just have to go Villa.
Villa as well. Yeah.
I'd have to go Villa as the main team. That's such a massive signing for Villa. It's really incredible that they're able to get him.
Yeah, they're honestly just looking to elevate their
Bolster.
status
Yeah,
to the next level, to be like a solid top 10 club
yeah.
year in, year out.
You'll love to see it. You'll love to see teams improve. They learned.
Yep,
they learned they were
absolutely.
trash. They went down. They righted the stuff. And they could have panicked. They could have went wrong. They could have either went down, or they could have just even sacked Dean Smith halfway through that year or something, where it was looking not very good. Hold on to him. Level things out. New year. Come back. Have a great season. And now they're just building off that. Crazy how things can change. Would you say a loser of the summer so far?
Loser, I would say maybe Newcastle. Just they haven't done anything, and they really need to.
Mm-hmm.
Time's ticking. Preseason started. You got less than a month to go before the season starts. So
I would say Liverpool, just because higher implications probably is why.
Yeah, that's true.
Higher implications than Newcastle, a little further down the table. But, yeah, losing Wijnaldum and just not doing anything. That's not okay.
Yeah, for sure.
He was your best player
sure.
last year by far. You let him leave on a free. Do you have any prediction for before our next show if the signing's going to happen or not? I haven't really.
Well, I think the Arsenal ones will be confirmed, but that's kind of cheating because they're pretty much confirmed. I mean, I think Conor Gallagher probably will get loaned out somewhere.
Okay.
Maybe Kabak. And then I think Varane. I think he'll sign, likely.
More than likely. All right. Any last talking points before we wrap it up?
No.
Just till next week.
Till next week.
Till next week.
It's been Weekly Roundup numero uno.